The Regents podcast. The Regents podcast. My fellow Americans, this is a chaos episode, okay?
Right.
Ellyn didn't take her Adderall, okay? We have big, exciting news to talk about with Aja. Big things have happened this week for her.
Yes.
I may or may not have a brain aneurysm.
She doesn't.
I don't. And we're going to talk about networking.
Okay.
Because this is a chaos episode.
It goes like this. Okay.
Hey. Co-host the opening act of Boys to Men.
It's me. Hey, girl. Hey. Oh, my gosh.
And dead. How are you?
I am dead. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. Hold on. You probably can't.
Yes.
Girl, I mean, that was literally one of the best nights of my life. I was like so in my feelings. I cried like 2 to 3 different times. It was just a really, really amazing experience, and so we performed. I did my thing in the atrium, and it was just me. It was just me with tracks on the thing. I printed out all of these like QR promo code cards thing, so people could take those, and people wanted to take pictures with me. It was really, I was like, what is happening, Brandon? So he was there taking pictures and doing all the thing. So right after I finished, like 5 minutes after, we went backstage. We heard them like practicing or whatever. We met them, took pictures. They let them know that, like I was the opening act, and they were like, thank you so much for priming the crowd for us, like da. And I was like, our collaboration's coming soon, so just be on the lookout. And they were like, all right.
Yeah.
And then it was a perfect like sequence of events, because after I performed, there was like, and we saw them right before they went on stage. Like they went on at 8:05-ish. We saw them at like 7:55. So it was perfect. Like, after I sing, then I go and watch like their show, and they escorted us like to our seats or whatever. And the show was, oh my gosh, the show was amazing. I was like,
it's Boys to Men.
It's Boys to Men. And they're just like singing hit after hit after hit. Me and Brayden like, oh my God, right. Oh man. It was phenomenal.
End of the road. Did they end the show with that song?
They did. And everybody sang it to the top of their lungs. There was like a row of men behind us. Not like old men, but like younger men.
Yes.
They were all singing all the songs. Okay. Yes. I'll make love to you when you want me to. Oh my gosh. And they were just like, so Brandon asked me like some questions beforehand, and he was like, how do you feel about tonight? Whatever, like recording me. And I was like, first of all, it's Black History Month. I'm just so excited that these Black men have stayed together. They're still performing together. They look amazing. They're obviously taking great care of themselves. Like they've lost weight. They're showing abs. Like Sean, he plays guitar like a freaking crazy person. He played and they have this like segment of the show called The Change, where they're like, we want to perform songs for you guys that you wouldn't expect Boys to Men to perform. They did like You Make Me Feel Like Locked Out of Heaven by Bruno Mars. They did Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke. They did that song, I Was Born by the River. Yes. They did that. They did Purple Rain by Prince, and that's where Sean like killed it on the guitar.
Oh, first Sean, I love it.
Whatever. And then what was the other? Oh, they did like some rock song, but they were just like bouncing around stage. Like energy was amazing. Everybody obviously knew all the words. It was just so freaking phenomenal. And then after the show, like, because we're in the main theater with everybody, people remembered me, and I was like, this is good, Brandon. This is good. They were like, You performed.
You get
You
it?
performed. They were like, "Oh my god, you were so good! Like, I'm so excited to see you," and da da da. But it was just a great night. The reception was awesome from the people, the boys to men people, like their team of people, their entourage or whatever.
Yeah.
They were really encouraging because they heard me like rehearse and like do my sound check and all that type of stuff beforehand. So they were like, "Oh, like keep going. You have some really great chops. Like don't you ever dare stop. Like da da da." So I was like, "Okay,
You're
I
like, also
will."
here, take my name and number.
Yeah. Hello.
I
Okay.
am available for gigs.
Right. Available for these collabs.
Are
Okay,
you
for
on
a
tour? I
duet.
could be on tour too. You know what
I
I'm
could be
saying?
the opening
Be the
act.
opening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shoot.
I mean, that's just how it starts.
Uh,
It's just one pickup for an opening act, and
yeah. But that was the night, girl. And we were just Brandon and I both. We were just like on such a high. Like this is pretty insane. He was like, you literally opened for Voice to Men. I was like,
yeah, you're like
how did
driving home.
that
You're like, did that just happen?
all night? We were just like, what? And it
Oh my
snowed. It was
God.
beautiful outside. We went out to eat afterwards and
Oh.
just kind of recounting. And that was basically our like Valentine's Day thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Baby Aja was like in her feelings deep. But that was just a moment I'll never ever forget. And yeah.
No, I love that. I'm so excited. I'm so happy
Yeah.
for you. I feel like there's so much that's like brewing and like happening. And it's like nice to see a week where
Yeah.
all the irons in the fire are like happening.
Right. They're hot.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so
That's
happy for you.
oh, thank you, Boo.
Okay, hi everyone, welcome back to the Regents podcast. It's a chaos episode, just flow with it. So I'm just gonna, you know what it is? I'm gonna network the pieces together of this episode. That's what I'm gonna do.
We're gonna network.
Oh my god, no! So I want to do. It's not drop shipping. I think it's not drop shipping. I think it's like basically open creating a business. So essentially, my nephew loves this owl and star that he got from my mom years when he was first born. Loves, loves, loves. They are no longer available anywhere.
Okay.
But I, as the internet researcher that I am, was able to find the wholesaler in China that you could make these and order them, from the factory.
Okay.
From the factory. I don't know, I'm screaming. And you can only order them in bulk. So you have to order like 1,000 of these things. And we're talking about like it is his comfort, like stuffed animals. These are his absolute favorites. They are never washed. They are never potentially like hurt in any way. Like you have to be so careful with them. Like, because you don't want to throw it in the wash and then have it be destroyed. So it's like one of those things where, spray it with Lysol and keep it rolling. Like, Olive.
This is just indicative of how
It's a chaos episode.
going.
It's a chaos.
It's a chaos.
Is that an earthquake or is that just the chaos episode? We should do that. We should do that. We should do every once in a while just chaotic, like no plan, just us talking. The show before the show.
Yeah. No, we actually should.
Yeah, I think we should do those every like couple of weeks. I don't even know what episode number this is going to be because
we're so far ahead.
We're so booked and we have scheduled our out. You don't even know, but today is Galentine's Day. Aja didn't know what that was. You don't even know.
In 2024.
Oh my Lanta. Because she's always had a Valentine, so she didn't need a Galentine.
Oh no.
Galentine. I'm sorry to this man.
Sorry to these gals. But yeah.
Which is what got me on the topic of the gals, which brought up this girl on TikTok. I forget what her name is, but she says she's always saying like the girls. Trish. Golf lady.
I've got so many ranch waters in here, I can't even access my balls. Okay, Scott, I'm heading out. I'm going to go play with the 9-hole group before my flight to Nashville. You good with the kids?
Trish.
So anyway, she bulk ordered like 1,000 wigs from China so that she can always have her wigs because they got discontinued from her supplier. So that had me thinking, once I found out that like Lincoln's stuffies were, canceled and you can only get them in bulk from China, 1,000, I was like, why don't I buy
1,000?
1,000 and then sell them on TikTok Shop? And be a retailer, small business. Obviously, only if TikTok stays around.
I mean,
do
it while it's here.
Well, but do I do it while it's here and then TikTok goes away in like a month? Like, no, I feel like that's.
Then you'll only have a month's worth of. You could sell it on anywhere. You can sell it on anywhere.
Where? Nowhere. There's no other there's no Facebook Marketplace. I'm gonna have every Tom, Dick, and Harry coming to my door. No,
you can do a different drop off.
Ellyn with a Y, all of my regular stuff on my website, and then there's an additional tab that's for stuffed owls and stars. It's the most random side hustle.
This is what you wanted.
They go, how'd you get your start in the kids' toy business? Funny story.
Yeah.
So I made an ill-advised purchase of 1,000 stuffies.
While TikTok was still in limbo.
Right before TikTok was.
Knowing that it was in limbo.
Cut off. If you've seen Pitch Perfect, you know. You are cut off. Yeah, so that's this is exactly it. When someone was like, oh yeah, like I quit my job to start my events business like a month before the pandemic. Like if you can see the pandemic in the future,
probably not a good idea.
Don't buy 1,000 stuffies. Do you know what I mean? Like if I have the blessing of knowing that the future is a pandemic, a world with no TikTok, then don't buy the 1,000 stuffies.
Correct.
I just am in my apartment with 1,000 stuffies all around me. It's a picture. It's a picture in the New York Times or something, or honestly worse, like the local Venice quarterly.
The Chronicle.
The Venice Chronicle. Okay, it's like a picture of me surrounded by my stuffies. And that's like the local impact of TikTok's cancellation. One woman
for small business.
Yeah, what it means for small business owners. One woman's one woman's
dreams go down.
One woman's dreams fall short of the stars. 1,000 stars around me. The headline: when you shoot for the moon, sometimes you don't end up in the stars.
God.
1,000 owls staring at me. and
why she's picturing
stars.
The demise of the business before it even starts.
No, because
let me tell you what it's gonna be like. I'm just gonna have 1,000 stuffies.
No, because literally,
your claim to fame. Then you just gotta flip it.
On what social platform? Like the Star Girl.
Twitch,
Star Girl.
Twitter, X.
I live stream laying in my thousands of stuffies, just laying in them.
On an OnlyFans.
Trying to.
People who love stuffed animals.
Ew. Oh my God, then I get into the weird, furry category of people who like stuff shit. No, thank
furries,
you.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's a whole thing. I'll never forget that episode of SVU.
I was like, why do you know about that? You didn't know about Galentine's Day, but you know about furries? That feels so out of character. This is not congruent with the person that I know.
With the Aja. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. It was a Law and Order episode? Of course it was. Of course it was. Of course.
Obviously. But these people, they have parties, mask parties. These people are in mascots. Guys, I love Law and Order. Okay.
Oh my God, I took the biggest sip of coffee just then. You're like, oh yeah, then they have these sex parties. I'm like, what?
I didn't say that.
Well, that's what they are. Oh my God.
It's SVU.
It's SVU. That's what I mean.
Yeah, but we didn't have to say it. They're going to ban us on TikTok.
It's okay. We buried it really deep in the episode.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, my head hurts
Anyway,
from my aneurysm. Oh my
You
God.
didn't have that, Ellen.
I think I
Stop.
did. I think I have an aneurysm. I have to research it, but if you don't hear from me,
She didn't.
they
I'll rebuke that.
find me weeks later, surrounded by my stuffies,
Lord.
surrounded by the stuffies just on the floor.
Oh,
They're like, "What
man.
happened? Oh my God, the stuffies got her."
The stuffies and the Pilates.
Yeah.
Mm.
I know, seriously.
Wow.
Because I was doing a harder Pilates class today with like the ropes. It's called TRX and it's like suspend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's no joke. It's no joke.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's rough. The tether, the tie of this chaos is that we actually did but when we were doing our show before the show chatting, we were talking about the idea of like networking and like wanting to go or not wanting to go because sometimes it's beneficial, sometimes it's not beneficial. You've got to go and you hope that the people that you want to network are there, but maybe they won't be. So there's a lot of things and advantages to networking. And I think in typical like 9 to 5 careers, that there's like benefits to networking. In like creative spaces like what we're in, obviously there's huge benefits to networking, and this person who knows this person who works in this studio, and then that's how you meet this person, and booked and busy. It's that's how it all works. And I actually just saw a TikTok where this guy is a coach and he was basically like, I'm going to give you guys, because it was the audience, the people that were interviewing him, was a college football coach, and it was college journalism students doing like the press conference with him. And he was just like, I'm just going to give you guys a piece of advice that I give to all my players. And he was like, are you right? He's like, are you writing this down? And they're like, yeah, we're typing. And he's like, 1, read more than you think you need to. 2, write everything down every day about everything. And I was like, oh, that's pretty smart because I can't remember anything anymore. The third one, I can't remember. Fourth one was, what was the third one? I can't remember. Fourth one was, whenever you meet, like, take the opportunity when you meet people to make connections between those people, always. Something like that. It was like a good way to like always try to find ways to help people and like connect them.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I have to find that TikTok. Oh, here it is. Texas A&M Buzz Williams gives life advice to journalism students. Yeah, okay. So he said, read more than you think you should. Write down everything about everything all the time. Oh, this is the one. Number 3, over the next 10 years, build as many relationships as you can and learn to connect the dots between those relationships. So that was number 3. And number 4, never turn down an opportunity to learn or to work. Which I was like, I just love that, like, people in positions like a coach or a teacher or whatever, like, when they recognize that they are in the position to like actually guide and help and give and mold, you know what I mean? I think like that's so awesome. So just cool that he was like, let me just give you guys some free life advice.
Yeah.
Like these 4 things. And those are actually like
Good things.
very good things. And they're not like the typical, like, be kind, like be that. It's like, obviously be kind, like be a good human, period.
Yeah. That's
but like read more, like write stuff down. Like it's true. Like, yeah, when you write stuff down about your day, if you journal, if you write down like just notes about what happened in the day, even if you just keep a really good calendar of like everything you did in that day, it's really helpful because in remembering.
No, so true.
Because I struggle with remembering.
I know. I think that's something going on with our generation.
I think we have too much information.
So much information.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it is. We're bombarded with stuff, so it's like I can't remember how I found it out. But I started journaling more intently. I'm not perfect with it, but I was like, the times that I have journaled in the past, they were infrequent, far between. But I loved going back and reading those things because it did like put me back into that moment, that day, that experience. So every day now, I think I tried to make like a mountain of it because when I used to journal, I would just like kind of flood the pages, like just sit there and just write. But now I'm just like, you know what? Let me make it a little bit more doable. At least start that way. Make it a 3 to 5 minute type of thing. If I go
Yeah.
longer because I'm like in a groove, fine. But at least I have like an account of what happened that day or whatever. Because that's how
Mm.
I also feel about pictures. I love going in my pictures, like in my gallery or
Yeah.
whatever. And the fact that Google Photos will tell you, like, 2 years ago on this day, this is what you were doing. Like, I love that. It helps with remembering and like, where was I on this day? What was I
Yes.
doing?
You know what? I noticed I think I was in a different headspace when I used to use that app Time Hop, where it would show you like all your pictures
Mm-hmm.
on all your social media that you had posted
Yeah.
over time. And there was a time when I would look at it and I'd be like kind of sad looking at it because I'm like, oh, I don't look like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think now I'm in a better headspace, but I also don't know. It's funny, like I'll go and clean out my camera roll and I get like such like nostalgia pangs when I see old photos or like, oh my God, the memory or oh, this time. And I'm like, I'm wondering if now, if I 5 years from now look back at the stuff I'm making and creating and recording right now, if I'm going to be like, oh my God, this was so dope. Like I'm so happy because I personally feel good in this moment.
Yeah.
So the pictures I'm capturing, I'm really happy genuinely in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not this like pretending almost to be happy because I'm not like pursuing the thing I really want to be pursuing. Because when I look at those now, I'm like, oh, time wasted a little bit. But I'm working on that like framing in my brain.
For sure. For sure.
But I agree with you on the journaling. And I also like I don't love journaling.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of it is just like I can't write as fast as my brain moves, but I know we've talked about the fact that like that's why journaling is a written thing because
Yeah.
it makes you slow down your thoughts, which is like
Yes.
me, slow down my thoughts. Like,
Why would I do that?
and I feel like with journaling, I do like when it's funny, like, you'll have like a thought or you'll have like a concept or have like a thing in your brain that's like kind of, it literally is like in orbit in my brain and it comes to the front and I think about it and then I send it back and then it comes back around to the front and I think about it. And then if you don't do anything with it, it's just going to keep doing this orbit around your brain.
Yeah.
So I have taken to, what is that thought? Like, why did that pop up? Like, where did that idea come from? I hadn't thought about that before. Why is that idea here? I've like this year, 2025, started just being like, I'm just going to write one page in the journal that I have because in the back it has like open notes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to fill the page with the thoughts on that thing.
Okay.
And that gets it out of my head. And so I'm not like ruminating on this concept anymore, this idea. So I feel like that has definitely helped.
Yeah. Those are called thought loops in the
Thought loop. Yeah, there you go.
in the psychology therapy realm. And it's true, like when you actually, instead of keeping it all up here, get it out, whether you need to talk about it or write about it or whatever, it does. It helps to free up mental space. Because what you said just now about like how, because I'm like, we're too young to be having these like memory lapses. And they're not like crazy, but it's just like, wait, it's because we're
Dude.
bombarded.
Yeah. We have way more information. We have way more information that we've had to take in at the age of 35, 36 than I think a normal 35, 36 in their whole lives.
Seriously.
Like my Nani just turned 100 and no, not 100, excuse me.
Wow.
We said in 2025 I was going to get this age right.
Here we are, still not
94.
All right now.
94. Okay, she's 94.
God bless Noni.
God bless her. And she has experienced a lot of stuff, a lot of history, Pearl Harbor, World Wars. It's insane to think that she was alive during the Holocaust.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like that's psychotic.
That's wild.
Insane. Was she alive during the Holocaust? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I got confused. No. I'm just kidding.
Go on the internet.
I'm kidding. Okay. What's it called? What's the other war that everyone hated? Vietnam War. like 9/11,
everyone
JFK being shot, 9/11, a global pandemic, a reality television star being elected as president, not once, but twice. And seeing two different women run for president and also losing. But our first female vice president.
First female vice. That's right. Okay.
So she's lived through a lot.
Yes,
she has 150 kids, thousands of grandchildren, and she remembers great grandchildren.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, yeah. So there's 100 million people in my family, but she remembers. I mean, she also writes everything down, but like birthdays, names of people, like geographically where they're located in the country.
Because she had less stress. She had less things.
If she doesn't turn on the news, she does not know.
Information. Exactly.
She does not. I'm pretty sure she didn't know there were fires in California.
Right. Until somebody.
Because I know I would have gotten a phone call. Yeah. I had to call her to tell her I was okay.
Graham, I'm okay. Don't worry.
She took "Don't call us, we'll call you" to heart.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
She did. Oh my God.
You hear those stories about the people who like live off the grid, and I'm like, I'm a little jealous of that because
I know.
I think that's phenomenal that people can actually have that opportunity to like not be bombarded. And first, the other thing too, I think that's extremely hard. I think you would have to work very hard to be off of the grid, unless you choose to live a life that doesn't really require it. Like the type of life we live, there's no way.
I know. But I will say, I think that you and I do, for as online as and public facing as our like direction careers are headed, and we are, I do think that we're both pretty removed from online. Like I say I'm extremely, extremely online when it comes to like TikTok and trends and like, references and all that stuff. But I'm very conscious of not taking in too much like news, too much doom, too much negativity. Like I try to consume like happy, nice, fun, laugh kind of content. You know what I mean? Love is Blind, like hee kiki funny. Because I'm really like, and there's like one or two places I get news from now. Yeah. One that's just like CNN, 5 things to know today. This is what you should know. And then I follow this person. They do, it's called Under the Desk News. Okay. And they basically, she like started with like just sitting underneath her desk, like giving like news updates because it was like so chaotic during the pandemic. And so it just turned into this like under the desk news thing. Huh. And though it's like a recap at the end of the day, like this is what happened. This is what you need to know. Like, yes, it's through a liberal lens. So sue me. I just feel like it's just information. Yeah. And it's like delivered in a way that I can actually understand. And it's not, she makes a very concerted effort. She's just like, I don't do breaking news because everything would be breaking if it's breaking news. She's like, you get your update at 7:00 my time. Yeah. I give you the rundown. And then she does only good news on Thursdays.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah. So, so it's like, you have to, I think that's the thing. And I think you and I are so like leaned in on the concept of being intentional about a lot of things, but especially what's coming into your psyche, into your headspace. Exactly. Which actually does connect back to networking. Okay. Because, and maybe we're going to have to do a 2.0 on a networking episode because we're going to have to really take it seriously and not be chaotic. But because you know how I am, it's like if I really don't want to go somewhere or do something, I like stress and panic about it until the moment I get there. So it's like all I can think about. My brain is on a loop of like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm like, it's raining. I don't want to go. It's raining. I have to go to Costco. Right. My hair's not even good. I
don't have any more fruit.
I'm going to have to put my contacts in. I don't have any more fruit. That's right. I don't have any more fruit.
Come on.
And I'm leaving in a couple days. So it's like, well, I can't buy too much fruit. So that's what's going in my head. Okay. Lots of happening in my head.
Okay.
Okay. It's like It's actually sick sometimes how far and how fast my brain goes. That's why I feel like we do have to be really intentional.
Yeah.
But that's what was making me think, and we connect back to the concept of networking, right? Of like being really intentional.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you are presented with opportunity to network, and I'm curious, and I mean, we kind of were talking about it offline. You were bringing up the fact that you have opportunities to meet and connect with people. Like, I feel like maybe your attitude towards networking opportunity is a bit more optimistic, or at least less pessimistic than my current headspace about my network. We both have networking opportunities. Okay. That's what's happening, guys. Today, we both have networking opportunities. And Aja seemed more, I will say, seemed less pessimistic, optimistic. I don't know, whichever word you want to use. More optimistic. Yeah. Thank you. More optimistic than I was about my networking opportunity.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted to, I always feel like I'm like, have friends that inspire you, have friends that like you want to be like, you mold, whatever.
Yeah.
I need to be in that headspace when I leave this apartment because I am going to go to this networking thing.
Yeah.
So
there we go. That's first step. I am gonna go.
okay.
Okay, and
I go there. I just am a wallflower. They're like, this is not the Ellyn we know.
We're just gonna circle back to Buzz Williams, whatever he said.
Yeah. How do you remember his name? I don't even remember his name. Oh my God. I have attention deficit. I have a disability.
Oh
I have a disability. I have a disability. It's okay. Yeah, I have an invisible disability. Invisible. I think it's pretty clear. It's pretty visible on this episode of the podcast. It's pretty visible. Okay, give it to me. What was Buzz saying? Buzz Aldrin. Oh God.
Buzz mentioned that
okay.
You should always find a way to connect the people that you've built relationships with and are building relationships with. So what we said when we first heard that was like, okay, that's a good way to like reframe the thought going into a networking opportunity, because it's easy to get caught up in the, oh, I'm going here to network, I'm looking for something from these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, what can I get? And instead he's saying, think about how you can give, because then that's like, it just changes.
Reframe.
Yes.
You're reframe.
You're rethinking, the reciprocity thing by not from a selfish place first, but from being selfless, like going in thinking like, wow, well, I can help by maybe introducing you to these people. Like, what do you do? Tell me a little bit more about this, and then I can see how I can help. And I always find it interesting how people are like, oh, well, we don't give to get. So I don't think about it like that. And it's like, I feel like you have to kind of do it until that becomes second nature. Because sometimes it's like, some people are just like, well, I'm giving because I know that I'll get, because that's the way that it works.
Yeah.
But
no, that is so true. That is such a really good way to reframe it, Aja. Is like, go in with because it does, like, for me, I think that's a big part of it, is it feels icky because I feel like I'm like, they have something I want, maybe, or like I want something of this.
They want something from me. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think, because I thought was part of it. I was like, I felt like they invited me for this reason and that they want something out of me, and then that made me feel uncomfortable. But then I was like, oh, but then this types of people will be there, so that'll be good for me. And I'm like, that also made me feel icky. Yeah. So then it's like, if you reframe it of like, how could I connect dots?
Right.
How could I maybe like benefit people and help people connect dots? Then it's like, okay, so that's not a bad thing. Like, if I go in just being like, hey, how's it going? Like, oh, I actually do know this person, or like, oh, what about that? Yeah. Because I've
oh, go ahead.
No, go for it. No, go for it.
I was going to say, Brandon and I talk about that a lot, about how even just with a conversation, you're going to have a better conversation if you're asking more about the person you're speaking with. Like, tell me more about yourself. And from there, just trying to figure out what ways we can connect, or in this particular instance, how I can connect you with someone that maybe you and I can't necessarily connect, but maybe I can connect. Or so yeah, I think that's.
I was listening to like a dating app. This person was like giving advice on dating, whatever. I was listening to a dating app, a dating podcast, not a dating app, dating podcast. And this woman was basically like, I was at this event, networking, whatever. And this guy, like, we didn't really have anything in common. He didn't really seem that interested in talking to me. And it was a networking event. She wasn't going to date. And she just kept asking, questions about himself, like, oh, where do you like to travel? Where do you go? Or what was a recent vacation you went on? And it came up that they both like to ski, that was a commonality that they had. He lit up. They both were talking about it for a while. It totally changed the course of the conversation. And she's like, take that as a sign, whether you're networking, interpersonal relationships, or whether you're dating, like, just, ask questions, look for common ground. You know what I mean? Look for that commonality, so yeah.
And I think, we talk a lot about intention and all of that. I don't think there's anything wrong with going in, because we have to do those sorts of things. And I think it's in every field, whether it's in the creative field like we're in, entrepreneurials for sure, because we have the potential to work in a silo and we don't want that. We always want to kind of like get out, and I know that I have to do a better job of that, um, with reaching out to other people, because there's the digital side of it, but then there's also like the in-person side, which I think is important. And a lot of times I feel like people do so much of it today, all like digitally.
Yeah.
It's great, but it's like we can get a bunch of DMs from a bunch of random people. Sometimes that's cool and it can work out, but that in-person energy and vibe is always, really cool and organic. So
No, that's true. And also, like, that's also a thing of, like, I feel sometimes a little uncomfortable reaching out to people that I, like, know in my network, like, tangentially, and, like, being like, hey, I just wanted to, like, ask you a question, pick your brain, like, just get advice because you have more experience in this thing than I do. I always feel so uncomfortable doing it because I feel like I'm, like, putting someone out. And, like, it's another thing that I think I need to, like, reframe. And, like, I think people want to help. Like, I like when someone asks me for help or asks me for guidance, or so it's like, if I kind of just reframe it in that way for myself, maybe I will feel less uncomfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe, I don't know. I realized I was like sitting on the mic and I'm like, oh, that's why it's always so loud. I have to like back up.
It would be that way when I eat it, right? Okay, great.
Yeah. Is it Cake? That show, Is It Cake?
No.
Oh, I think it's like a Netflix show. It's like bakers, and they do. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, or they like go to cut into something and it's not cake, or it is
that's
cake.
Probably why. Did you see that commercial Issa Rae did?
Yes. At the very end, she like cut into the. Is it cake? Yeah.
Yeah. I would love a slice of cake right now.
Oh my God, I know. I've been thinking about having like a slice of like birthday cake. Apparently Trader Joe's sells like really small, like self-serve servings of sheet cake, like this big.
Oh yes, I've seen that.
I saw it on TikTok.
Yep.
Obviously not in person because I've never been inside of a Trader Joe's, so I don't. I've got to film that at some point. I need to film that.
Change that when you come.
Yeah.
Here, we're going to TJ's because it's so good.
I want to go to Trader Joe's. I want to eat all the fun stuff.
The fun stuff. They have really fun stuff. They do.
Yeah.
We should go to Trader Joe's and Pliable. But anyway,
sponsor.
What were we saying?
Networking.
Yeah, but
chaos.
I don't know. Oh, I know.
Okay.
You were talking about how you asking people for help and like mentorship or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were like, you want to help people, so you have to just rethink. Like, people like to be asked questions, and I think there's a delicate balance between asking someone like for advice or whatever in whatever field they're in, but then also knowing not to go so far, because sometimes people can ask for help or whatever, and it's like, okay, well, now we need to I need to quote you because now I'm your consultant. You know what I mean?
Well, so that's a thing. Like, and I think that maybe because in like networking previous career experiences, I have always felt very like I always wanted help and offer and connect and do all the things. And I think I've always felt like a little like overextended in my efforts to be kind and help people and connect dots. And I think that in that world, it is very like people can sometimes take advantage or like, want something from you. Like I've always been like, yeah, for sure. You want to hop on a call? I can give you advice about how to get into this world, or like you want me to connect you to like our HR department. I'm happy to do that. Or like, oh yeah, oh you do this type of technology. Like I know the head of this the tech department in this thing. Like let me connect you. Like I feel like I've always been very open to doing that, and I think now one, it's because it's me. And it's not a thing separate from me. So that makes me a little uncomfortable. But also, I think I just really don't like the idea of someone having something that I want and they know that they have something that I want. And then I could be like exploited or manipulated.
That's true. And
I get very anxious about that.
The other part about that is also valuing. You brought up a really good point, saying that now it's you. It's not like this entity outside of you, a place where you work, or, all these departments that are outside of your own. But I think it's important to know like the things that you've invested in. And it's like, yeah, well, you invested your time, your money, your trials and failures, or whatever your successes in certain things. So do you think it should be like something where you give everything away freely? Cuz I feel, and this is just me being 100% like honest, if I've invested like crazy time, crazy effort or whatever into something, and learning something a certain way or whatever, if I know a person is genuine and really wants, and maybe they deserve, or they need a hand out, or
Mm-hmm.
not a hand out but like a hand up or whatever you call it, I don't mind. But like, and maybe that's because I'm also aspiring. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe if I was
Yeah.
just like, if I had already made it and all this other type of stuff, it's like I wouldn't mind sharing all the things that I know. And I feel like I'm pretty open as is to like be transparent and tell people
Yeah.
like where I am. This is how I got here. This is what I did. But when it comes to like, okay, I've invested in things for myself and all this other type of stuff, I don't think it's cool for people to try to mooch off of me and the things
Well,
that.
that's I think a good point. Like what's mooching, right? It's like if I have learned things, or if I know something, or if I have this background that I can help, like I've hopped on calls with people where, a friend of a friend thought that like, they could just like learn something or like benefit from connecting.
Yeah.
Like I'll always take those kind of like early calls or whatever to be like, hey, like what's up? Like da da da. Like it's, half hour, 45 minutes, even an hour of my time to kind of like give,
Yeah.
I think even if it's something that I typically could even charge for in another situation, it's almost like a good, like, well, and if you want more of it where that came from, like you can charge, I will pay you, you can pay me for it. But I think like for me, I just prefer to like give and flow freely.
Yeah.
Like what I've learned, what I have, like my information, because I don't like to feel like I'm keeping anything, gatekeeping, or keeping anything in, or like
that I totally agree with.
it's like I love the like like there's plenty of room at the table for everybody, and it's like if I can kind of help you, give you a leg up, whatever. I just think that it's not even like, oh, I expect you to give back to me. I just in my mind operate it will be reciprocal. Because if I think that it wouldn't be reciprocal, it puts me in such a negative headspace.
Yeah.
But I think that that's the thing, is that like the more you open yourself up to these like networking things and going to stuff and, giving, I learned this, or I have this, or let me connect you with this person. Like I get it though. Like if I connect you with this person, then are you going to get more deals from this person than I'm going to get? Or are you going to charge less? And, so it's like it can start to create this like, oh, so are you going to charge less? So then they're going to start going to you more. But like, I know what I offer, and it's, and it's like, maybe it means a lot to me and it means not much to you. And then that's going to burn my it's like, there's a lot of different like factors,
a lot of different ways it can go.
Yeah. And I feel like it's like, yeah, for sure. And I've had situations where like, I've had people reach out that like don't really know me. They just like tangentially know me through something,
Yeah.
someone. And they're like, hey, like, can you like get me a connect at this thing? Especially when I was working at Condé Nast. And I was like, can you
Right.
get me on this? Can you get me on this list? I'm like, bitch, I'm not even invited to that shit. Are you kidding me? Like,
Stop it.
you know what I mean? It's like, but
Yeah.
that's where I always just feel like this like sensitivity around like, I don't know. It's a little, I do think I have, like, I'm kind of looking at it now being like, yeah, it is a little bit more of a sensitivity than I think I realized.
Mhm.
And maybe that's why I have a little bit more of an aversion.
Yeah.
But maybe
like you
it's old world, like old job remnants. Like this is a different world,
Yeah, I think
And
though,
it's
I think you
different
had the
because it's
right.
me.
I think you had the right idea when you first said we can freely, because I completely relate to that and I agree with that. It's not like, oh, if you want to talk to me and know what I know, you gotta, no. We can have a conversation. When it gets to be that, like, okay, my conversations with you now outweigh the things that I have on my plate. Like I'm doing too much. Like I'm actually like
Yeah.
nurturing you or whatever. Hold
The
on a
sun.
second. It's blinding me. It's okay.
Blinded by the light.
But if it gets to be to the point where it's like, okay, well now I have to like put time in my calendar in order for us to talk, then this is a red flag. And I'm sharing all my notes with you and all this other type of stuff. Like, okay, come on. But I think,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, we can absolutely have a conversation and just be frank with you about, where I am, how I got to this, or, how I met this person, who this person is, or whatever.
Yeah.
Give you kind of some details. Like, I think it's important to know that, like, quote, I say this for lack of a better term, boundary. We can
Mm-hmm.
network and we can have initial conversations, just like you said, and where you can speak freely and all that type of stuff. If it progresses beyond that, then we can assess
Yeah.
and just, so it doesn't have to be this weight on either of us thinking like, oh, I don't want to give away this, or I don't want to feel like I'm a gatekeeper of this, or you know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
just be open, let it flow.
I think that that's your point. That your point about like the boundary is like something. It's like that is something within my control.
Yeah.
And I think I get a little bit like also like annoyed when people are so like, and we could do this, and what about this idea, and this about, and like this and this. And it's like if you don't mean it, don't say it.
Yeah.
And like be more intentional. I don't know why I'm scolding this, random person,
Just
but it's like be
imaginary.
more intentional of like you're just like throwing ideas out there and like we could do this and we could do that. And it's like, obviously I'll learn quickly if you're someone that like follows up and follows through, or if you're someone that just like puts a lot of ideas into the world,
Just eager.
but doesn't do anything. Yeah, exactly. But I think I also am very like I said before we started recording, it gives me the feeling of like try hard. And it's like, why am I making fun of something like when someone tries hard? But it's like not like trying hard. Like I know trying is a valiant, worthy thing. Try. I think it's more so when it's like feels put on.
Yeah. Right.
And like, I really like want to go into these situations like just being myself and not putting on a performance of Ellyn. Like I've said, when I go into the studio, I think I've met like some newer people in the studio as of late, and I'm like, oh, hi, like, nice to meet you. I'm like, oh, like, nice to meet you. Okay, cool. Like, all right, I'm just going to go finish my makeup and I'm going to go, and I'm very like calm.
Yeah.
I'm very like subdued even because I'm like, well, I have to conserve my energy.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, hey, everyone, welcome in. Like, my name is Ellyn with a Y. Nice to meet you. Like, I'm not that 24/7.
Yeah, of course.
And I think it's just something I've always been chipping away at, is figuring out how to like not perform as Ellyn when I am literally just being Ellyn. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes perfect sense.
You know what I mean? Like when I'm going, like I found myself like talking to one of my neighbors the other day. I think I might have mentioned this to you. I don't know if I said it last week on the podcast, but I was talking to this woman and we were having like a really like important conversation. And I felt like I was like performing the emotion of the conversation in it. And then I kind of like in the moment, like took a step back and was like, you don't have to like be overly nice or overly kind or overly like empathetic in this moment. You can just be like, yeah, this is how I feel. And like, it's tough. And it's like, it is what it is, you know?
Mhm.
And I felt myself kind of shift in that. And then I got like a little emotional because what we were talking about was kind of serious.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, there's my emotions. Like there's the authenticity.
Yeah.
Like it's not just me being like, yeah, like faking that like everything, yeah, like it's a really tough conversation, but like I'm okay and I'm strong and I can make it through. It's like, no, it's like it's a tough thing and it's okay to like feel emotions and show those emotions.
Yeah. Right.
You know? So I think I'm like just always trying to like be really conscious of how I'm showing up in conversation or just as a person.
Mhm.
And also like, okay, like not everybody gets every like the best part of me or the best versions of me.
Right.
So that's why this whole like, oh yeah, let me go show up to this thing where I'm like, I feel like they want something out of me for me to go there.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like I kind of am hoping that I get something out of it
Yeah. But we're
more
gonna
than
go
just the goodie
into
bags.
it. But we're going into it wondering how we can share and how we can give.
How we can share.
Yes.
How we can share. Okay, that's what I'm going to do.
That's what that's what we're thinking about.
That's what how can I
Today when we
share?
go to our
How
events,
can I
how can
give?
I give? Yeah.
I'm also just so curious to see like who's going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of am also just like I'm like a looky loo. I'm like a little nosy person right now. I'm kind of like now I'm kind of curious who's going to be there.
Right. Right. Exactly. And
I'm like I don't
fine.
care. Like I'm
Yeah.
just going to go and show up and,
I'm
you
about
know.
to just people watch.
Yeah, like and I have seen the goodie bags that they're putting together. It's full-size product. So,
Okay. Listen, we're here for it.
yeah, so I need to actually RSVP, I guess.
Yeah. Don't miss out.
Don't- Guys, what if I oh shit. Oh, was I supposed to meet with
You're not going anywhere, huh?
I'm double booked. I'm double booked.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oof.
Oh well. I don't really need that meeting anyway. Okay. Well, guys, on that note, like show up to things you're scheduled to show up to and go to networking events with let's just say go to networking events with an open heart and an open mind and what you can be pouring, you know, what is it? What are we saying? Giving? Give. Okay.
What's that
Give.
word?
What can I be giving? Like how can I show up
How
to
can I
give
give? Yes.
and not what are they trying to take or what am I trying to get? It's how can I give?
How can I give?
Can I be in service?
Start there. Let that be the first place. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll report back and let you all know.
Same.
Oh my God, I've been complaining this whole time for me. You're like looking forward to your networking thing. That's why.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, but when I think about it, when I was talking to you about it before, I was just like, yeah, I'd love to build a relationship with these people, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I think it's beneficial for them to know me.
Oh my God. I'm going to I need some of that today. It's beneficial for you to know me.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you know what? It's true. Like every time I do tell someone like, oh, what I do or like what I have going on, I've got this podcast, I'm relaunching my other show.
Yeah.
I have like social media, I do videos for brands. Like they're like, oh, you got a lot going on. And I always feel really proud. So maybe it'll be a really good like injection of just like
some
confidence. And like I am.
Sure, because I'm happy.
Now I'm that
happy
chick.
to do this podcast with you. Like I don't, like
Yeah.
there's that. I think honestly, doing this weekly podcast also gives me a confidence boost, but then also like a thing because I'm just like I'm doing this with my friend, like one of my best friends, Ellyn, and it's just, she like I respect her, I admire her, all the things that she's done, like I value her opinion and stuff like that, in this whole thing. And you are literally one of the only people that I could talk to about all of this stuff, because we're literally going on this thing together. So
yeah,
it's like, yeah, it's beneficial for people to know you.
Oh.
Like she's Ellyn with a Y. And I'm not just saying that, from like, oh, that's best friend talking to you. Like,
yeah.
seriously, look
Oh.
at what you've done.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I know, sometimes, my thought loop gets not where I want it to be and I got to bring it back.
Yeah. I know.
So I appreciate you. You know me. I think I've said this to you before. I do like WWAD. What would Aja do?
Wow.
WWAD, you know what I mean? You got to really think about like, just sometimes how you would show up. I think about that with like sometimes like Lynn. I think about how would Lynn show up in certain situations, just because I feel like there's like a way in which, or just like how you tackle things. Like, I think about other friends of mine, that I like, they take things like kind of head on or like, are so like on top of it or like, like get stuff done. And I'm like, how, what would Sam do? Like, I'm just like, sometimes I channel all of
that. Yeah.
I tap into you guys sometimes when I'm just like, I need to get more of that happening right now.
That's so beneficial. And I think that's the benefit of having like a network of friends that are, have strengths in different things. Like I think about a friend who just called me. He's like so capable of like producing himself and, doing all those things. And that inspires me. Every time we get together, I'm like, yo, you inspire me all the time because I just love that you can do all this stuff on your own. Like it's so amazing that you have that ability to be able to get your art out without any help from anybody else. Like, and it's top notch. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I pull from that energy and I pull from you. I'm like, okay, well, Ellyn would say we got to do this on social.
Yeah.
Like whatever. Dealing with these different brands and all this other type of stuff. So yeah, you got to pull from what you know and yeah.
So I'm going to go in and I'm going to be myself with a little sprinkle of Aja.
Everybody else, right?
Little. This is a good thing. You guys want to know me. You want to know me. I can share with you. I can connect you, but you guys want to know me.
Yeah. Okay. That girl energy.
I'm going to go listen to some and now I'm that chick and get myself inspired.
That's right. I got to do the same. All right, guys.
And then I'm going to go to Costco. All right, guys.
It's been so wonderful. Welcome to our chaos.
Gorgeous day. Yes, a chaos episode for everyone. It's our chaos episode. All right, guys.
All right.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening. We appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed the chaos. Hope you enjoyed the show. Yeah, exactly. Like, listen, subscribe, share, comment, give without expecting to receive, but also receive graciously.
That's right. Don't be afraid to accept the gifts.
Exactly. All right. Well, on that note, thanks everyone. Love you all.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. The Regents Podcast. The Regents Podcast.
Your face.
I don't want to say corny.
Corny? Okay. All right. But
it's giving a vegetable that's yellow. It's giving yellow vegetable.
It's giving yellow vegetable.
It's giving cob.
Okay, on stalk.
On stalk. Okay, it's giving cobby. Let's not say
it's giving cobby.
Okay.